I wanted something like creamy today, and I've been thinking about making an orzo. I think it's pronounced an orzo,
Or maybe it's orzo.
like pasta. Um, I don't know what you call it, a dish. And I've been looking at my Pinterest as always. I saw this creamy Tuscan orzo here. This has, I don't know what's in this, but it looks creamy enough and it doesn't take as long as a risotto does, which I like. This is a caramelized lemon butter orzo with kale and garlic breadcrumbs. But that doesn't sound too good, does it? I like the carrot, I like the lemon butter. I think that sounds fresh. But like kale, it's spring, not really feeling kale. Garlic breadcrumbs, sounds good, I guess. It's a good crunchy element. Maybe this is better. Let's see what they have in the recipe. Bow, bow, bow. She adds a whole lemon. Bunch of greens. She has chard. I actually do have chard in the fridge, so maybe that's what we should do. She has one whole lemon, and I should use my lemons. Butter, panko breadcrumbs, one large garlic clove, parmesan. We don't have parmesan, but we will go with nutritional yeast. We will use nutritional yeast. And let's try it.
So on with the apron and let's start. I bought this net of lemons and I've felt bad that I haven't used them already. And what I think is chard is getting bad, so it's really time to use that. I was gonna fry it with just like some oil and like olive oil and lemon, which I did before, and that turned out delicious. But we'll use this now instead, and it's a better use for it, I hope. You can see that it's not that fresh, but I'll just take off the parts that aren't perfect and we'll use whatever is good. I think this is chard. Is this chard? I don't really know what chard is. In Sweden we don't have chard that way. This is mangold, we call it. And mangold, when it's small, the stems are red, so I'm not really that sure that this is mangold. But no, it is. It says on the pack that it's mangold, but is this a different kind of mangold? Is this chard? Swiss chard? Swiss chard also looks red. Anyway, you'll be confused with me. Anyway, it's crispy and it's good, and it doesn't taste that much of anything, but it's a good crispy, fresh element. And the rinsing of the whole entire thing in its entirety was not really enough to get away all the dirt, so I just separated it and rinsed everything individually. And I chose to cut it this way because the one other time I made this, I cut it this way and that turned out well, but maybe this wasn't the best decision for this kind of dish. Maybe I should have diced it or something, probably. Why I'm not so sure is because I think the stems aren't really going to soften that much, and the leaves are, so the leaves are going to get incorporated, but the stems are just going to stay the way they are and maybe be too big compared to the orzo. I don't know. So we'll set that aside and we'll start with the lemons, this whole net. And she used one lemon. And judging by the size of these, I'm thinking maybe that's not enough. I'll take 3. 3 will be a better amount for what I'm making, I feel. 1 lemon is very little. I'm not really sure that will give the lemon flavor that we're looking for. The thing that I might be scared about is all the white of the lemon. Maybe that will make it too bitter, but I guess we'll just follow the recipe and see where we land. We'll cook the orzo in the salty water. I learned that when you're cooking pasta, the water should be as salty as the ocean. When you're cooking something that you're going to remove from the liquid, like if you, with rice, for example, all the liquid gets soaked up into the rice, so then you shouldn't use as much salt because then it would be really salty. But everything that's going to just be in the water and then drained, the water should be as salty as the ocean. And this is just a lovely picture, isn't it? With all the lemons. It looks beautiful. I'm realizing now that maybe I should start frying the chard or the mangold or what we're gonna call it, because that's probably gonna take a while. And then I can focus on this lovely chopping of the lemon. I'll just dice it, I'm thinking. And maybe these dices are too big. Maybe they'll shrink. I don't know if it will shrink that much when it's heated up. I draw the line at the absolute ends of the lemon. I'm already really skeptical of the amount of pith in here, but look how beautiful it is. Okay, so we have a new angle. You can see all the chard cooking and not much is happening, and that's gonna take a while. But at least the orzo is done and it looks really creamy and good. What I don't like about this recipe when I read it is that you're supposed to cook everything in one pot. She's like, cook the orzo and then get that out, wipe the pot, and then get the, you know, the next things in. But I don't like these kinds of one pot recipes, because now the orzo is just gonna wait for everything to still finish, and I'm not even making everything in one pot. So I'm feeling a little stressed because I know that when pasta sits, it just clumps together and it's not as nice and creamy as what we just saw. But we'll start with the butter and some olive oil, and we'll get the lemons in and start frying them off. I'm thinking I will cook this until it's nice to bite into the lemon, so it's not too bitey, and we'll see if it actually tastes good. But I feel like the butter and the lemon should balance each other out, and the chard is on its way, so just leave that to it to do what it's supposed to do. Okay, here we see that the sauce of the lemon is really getting thicker. Now it's like a complete thing and not separate pieces. See how the butter has like emulsified with everything? But tasting it now, it's still not done. The flavor is fine. It's a little bitter though, like we knew was gonna happen. But the flavor is still lemony, which is nice. But the texture of the actual lemon pieces is not what we want yet, so we'll just let that cook. I almost forgot to do the breadcrumbs, and luckily it's very easy to do. I just took the butter, melted that, added the breadcrumbs, and swirled it around. The recipe says add the garlic, like remove the breadcrumbs from the heat and then add the garlic, so that's what we'll do. But I'm also here afraid that the garlic is not going to cook at all, so it's going to be very garlicky. But maybe that's nice, maybe we need that. But you can see the beautiful color of the breadcrumbs. It looks like the picture that we first saw, so at least we're doing that right. Okay, time for the nutritional yeast. And I know that this is like not traditional at all, and it's not actual Parmesan cheese, but it does the job, and it's easier to keep at home than a fresh Parmesan cheese, because that sometimes molds on me. But nutritional yeast I can just have in my pantry, and it works. The one pot cooking problem is very obvious here. We saw how creamy it was before, and now it's just a whole ball of pasta. And this is going to throw the whole ratio off of everything. And maybe I should have picked it up here, but I was tired and I didn't. I was sad that it wasn't going to be as creamy as I imagined it to be, and so I just ruined it even more, which was a mistake. I removed that little part just to feel like I tried to save it, but I didn't really. There's way too little sauce for this amount of pasta, but we're living with it at this point. And since I was gonna my plan was to fry all of the mangold and then save like half of it for later for eating with something else. But with this kind of like ratio, we just have to commit to it at this point, and yeah, we'll just blend it all together and hope for the best. You can see that it's way too dry. It should have been creamy at this point, but it doesn't look too bad. But it does, yeah. When I said I wanted something creamy, this is not what I wanted. But it looks pretty good. And yeah, I realize here that I completely forgot to add black pepper. So we'll just add that in afterwards and pretend that this never happened. Only you and I will know. It's really starting to fall apart here at the end, but we're sticking through it, and it's still something to eat, so we're not going to get too discouraged. Now with the breadcrumbs on it, it looks pretty good. We're saving the breadcrumbs are the savior of the day, I think, even though we almost forgot to make them.
Okay, here we go. Okay. I'm gonna add some more black pepper, and I'm gonna add some flaky salt. Just because I like salt. The breadcrumbs is a genius addition. I'm glad I didn't skip them. The lemon is a little bitter. I think it would be better to maybe not use every bit of white on the lemon. I think a little bit would be good. Maybe if I would do 3 lemons, I would maybe use 1 whole one, and then I'll just zest the other zest and like take out the insides of the other 2. I cooked them enough so they're not like you can't taste that you're actually biting into one, but the bitterness spreads over your whole mouth. If this was creamier, I think it would be even better. But I like it's like a risotto. I like the orzo as a concept. I will try to make it again another day. And the breadcrumbs are definitely a must. Don't skip on the breadcrumbs, even if you're lazy. And add some sort of vegetable and less pith. I think it's called the white thing. This was a good experiment. Thank you for watching. Bye.